All right, Dave here with another exciting tutorial. Today what I want to do is I want to show how to program your tablet to work with whatever program you want. Blender, Maya, Substance Painter, ZBrush, Photoshop, you name it, you can customize your tablet to work with that program. Okay, I'm not going to get into specifics to say, hey, if you're working with this program, set it up like this, this, and this. But instead, I'm going to kind of show you an overview of how you can program your tablet to work with whatever you need. So what I'm talking about are these type of tablets that have buttons on the side and buttons on the pen. Sometimes people get these and they're just like, they plug them in and it's cool. Hey, I can use this instead of a mouse. But let's take a look at all the functionality that you can really do with these. So the first thing you're going to need to know is what type of tablet you have. So let's say if you ordered one and you got it in the mail, awesome, I got it in 2-day shipping from Amazon Prime. Now I'm ready to rock and roll, okay? But the first thing you want to do is figure out what tablet you have. So what you would do is flip it over, and there's going to be a sticker on the back that's going to say what it is. Okay, so this is PTH651. I can see that it's the Intuos Pro Medium in this example, but let's just pretend we have that one. So what I would do is I would go here and I would click on Support, and then I'd go to Drivers and Software. And then I'm going to click on Drivers and Downloads, and then I'm going to type that in. So that was PTH651. So PTH-651. Now I would click on this, and that should be a picture of the tablet. And then I would click on the driver download. So I can see that if you're on a Mac, you would have to download these drivers. If you're on Windows, you download these drivers. So I'd go like to download Windows driver and confirm download. Now I already have it installed, and in fact this isn't actually my tablet that I have, but that's how you would find it for your particular tablet. So once that's installed, and even if yours came with a CD, don't install that CD. Instead, download the driver from the website, because that's going to be the most up to date. Okay, now that we have that, you can see that I just launched Maya here, and I'm going to try to set it up for this particular program. So to find our software, I'm going to go here and I'm going to type in Wacom, and I can see Wacom Tablet Properties is here. So if I click on that, now I have access to this. Now, what is going on here? What do we have here? Well, I have the tablet, and then I can program the functions, which would be the buttons on the side. I could do touch sensitivity stuff. Okay, that would be like touching with a hand, and also the pen buttons. Okay, so before I do anything, I'm just going to put this off to the side. I'm going to go into Maya, and with Maya, I kind of want to think about what buttons do I use the most. So in Maya, I have to press Alt to even move around like this, and then while I'm holding middle mouse, Alt and middle mouse like this. So I need to use Alt and middle mouse together. So what I might do is I might program the side of my tablet. So these buttons over here, I'm going to program one of them for Alt, and then something here for middle click. Okay, so if I go back to my tablet settings, I can go like this. I can say Intuos. Let's go to the tablet first. And now you might not see a list of applications down here. Okay, so I already got some stuff set up for some programs that I use a lot. But if you don't see, let's say, Maya in your list, or the program that you want to program, just click on the plus sign here, and you should get a list, and Maya should be in there. Now, you might say, well, wait a minute, Dave. I see that you have ZBrush and Photoshop, but I don't see ZBrush and Photoshop in the list here. Well, that's because they're not launched. So if I wanted to program something for ZBrush, I would have to click on ZBrush. Let's say it's the first time and it's not loaded in here. Okay, now that it's just the fact that it's loaded and active, now what I can do is if I hit the plus sign here, now a ZBrush is in my list here. and I could click on it. So I can also see that, for example, I don't have Substance Painter in my list here at all. So I could click on Painter, Substance Painter. I'll let that launch. And then I can come in here and wait till it loads. Okay, great. Now I can click on this and Substance Painter should be in here. Aha, right there. And I'll click OK. Now it's cool. Now it's part of my list here. Okay, cool. So now that we know that, and I'm going to go back to the Maya example. So if I have the Intuos is the device, the functions, I'm saying the buttons on the device itself rather than like the pen, for specifically Maya. Okay, so there it is. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to, let's say I wanted this button here to be Alt. Okay, I would go here and I would just say I want to go here and I'm going to choose a modifier. And any of these are considered modifiers. Okay, so Alt, Control, Space, Shift, or these type of clicks. So I'm just going to say Alt. Let me see. Or clicks. You can see here, these are just regular clicks. Here's the tablet. I'm sorry, keyboard. And you can see there's a lot of different things here, which is, once again, a lot of different things that we can do. So I'm going to go back here. I'm just going to go modifier, and I'm just going to say I want it to be left Alt and click OK. And I want the pen grip. So once again, the pen for specifically Maya. Okay, I want this to be middle click. So the way that I did that was I went to modifier, keyboard, modifier, and then I chose middle. And now if I click OK. So now if I go back to this, and if I forgot what it was, if I go here, I can see that my settings is set to this one. So I can see their settings, and what that is if I press that button, this is my settings. So it's telling me that this is Alt and this is middle click. Okay, so now if I press Alt, whoop, and I can middle click, I can move like that and like that. Okay, great. So now I'm kind of moving around and I can do whatever I want, holding down Alt, and it should be really comfortable with the tablet. Okay. In fact, I to be honest, I don't really like to use Maya with the tablet all that much. I feel like programs like ZBrush and Photoshop work even better with the tablet, but these same concepts can be applied. So great, I can see that that's working with my tablet. And if I go back to my properties, okay, functions, you can see that I technically already had an Alt down here. So, and that's because I had it already programmed. So you can see what I have here. I have Alt, Control. I actually have this one set to middle click as well in case I want to choose that. And then I could use this for something else. In fact, I could even set up this touch ring. Okay, so this would be considered the touch ring. And I could have the toggle button toggle between these different things. And it can change stuff like, let's say if I was in Photoshop, I could have it go to the brushes and then I could change the brush size by kind of scrolling around on this thing. Okay, so once again, kind of a lot of cool things that you can do with this. So great, I just programmed Maya. But now let's say if I want to program something for ZBrush, what I would do is I would figure out what are the important buttons of ZBrush. And I feel like really Alt, as far as for navigation, and Shift are going to be really important. Alt, Shift, and Control are really important for ZBrush navigation. So, and you might say, well, I don't want to screw up what I have for Maya. But once again, what's cool about this is if I go to functions and if I go to ZBrush, I can have this set up for special things. So for example, I have Alt and Shift set up here already. Okay, so Alt and Shift. And I'm just going to set this to Control. Okay. So Alt, Shift, and Control are going to be my things here, so I could kind of jump around on that if I wanted to. I mean, move around. But what if I wanted something else? So if you had a shortcut for something, and for those of you that don't know, I'll just kind of demo something here. Hold on. Let me just grab a starting point. Okay. Now, a shortcut for a brush in ZBrush is going to be, B is going to bring up the brushes, and then the letter of the brush. So if I press I, it's going to bring up all the brushes with I, and then I can see, like, if I want the inflate brush, it's N is the shortcut. So the shortcut for inflate is actually B for brush, I for inflate, and then N for that specific brush. So BIN, okay, kind of a weird shortcut, but it doesn't really matter how complex the shortcuts get because I could still program that onto my tablet. So for example, I'm going to go back to, once again, back to my tablet. So, or my tablet properties, I should say. And now what I can do, if I go here, I could say, you know what, I want this key, and once again, it could be any of the keys. I want this one to be the inflate brush. So what I could do is I could say I want it to be keystrokes. And now I could type in B, because that was the brush, then it's I for insert, and then N for the inflate brush. Okay, and now I could name this inflate. And then click OK. Now that's a really custom thing that only makes sense for ZBrush. Now, I made the fatal mistake of doing it when it was on all other. So that means that any program that's not on here, or that any program that I'm in, that shortcut will be BIN, which doesn't make any sense. It's only good for ZBrush. So I want to make sure that I'm on ZBrush. And I'm going to set this one to keystroke. And you can see I had it set for a different brush, but I'm going to set it to BIN. And I don't want this. So you got to be careful. You can see that I can't delete it. I'd have to use this delete. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to call this inflate. Okay, now if I click OK, now that's my inflate brush specific for ZBrush. So now what I can do, I'm just going to once again move that off to the side. Now, anytime I press that, it's going to bring up the inflate brush. So, and I can see here that if I tap this special menu, it shows, yes, that is the inflate brush right there. And when I do it, it looks like it's giving me a little bit of problem. Okay. Oh, so inflate's selected. So if I wasn't selected, let's see. There it is. Okay, so it went there. So I feel like that's kind of a tricky one. Okay, there. Looks like a little kind of glitchy there, but I feel like that's going to be a kind of a more complicated one. But what I wanted to show is the idea that you could have any type of keystrokes for anything that you need. Okay. Other things that you could do, like let's say specifically for ZBrush, is if I go into, let's say Tool, okay, and if I go to Geometry, and if I want to divide this, I can just press D. D is the shortcut to divide, and I think Shift D is to divide lower. So if I wanted to do that, I could do something like this. I could go back here, and once again, for the functions for ZBrush, let's say I want this one to be divide, and then this one to be kind of lower my subdivision. So I could say I want this one to be keystroke, and I want this to be, let's say, D. I'm going to call this divide. divide plus. Okay, there we go. And this one, I want it to be, I'm going to delete this. I'm going to say I want this one to be Shift D, and I want this to be divide minus. Okay, great. Now I can see I've got divide plus and divide minus and the inflate brush. And now what I should be able to do is on here, I can just easily press that back and forth. I'm just pressing that on the tablet, and you can see that it's dividing and bringing it down. So once again, anytime that you need that kind of stuff, it's really cool. And I can see that if I go back to Maya, I didn't lose my Maya settings. Okay, so whatever I have programmed for Maya, it's going to be staying for Maya. Whatever I have programmed for ZBrush, it's going to be staying for ZBrush. If I want to program the pen, I just click on the pen. I have to make sure that I click on ZBrush, and then I can say, hey, I want this to be the Shift key. So I might go to the modifier and choose Shift. On this one, you can see I have a keystroke. So what I have is, I have this set up for the letter J, because I programmed it to bring up a hot menu. Okay, and I have a video that shows how to customize ZBrush and do all this kind of cool stuff. But you can see that on my tablet, on my pen, I can just press one button and it brings up this cool menu here that I customized, and makes my life super easy. That I can change my draw size, I can change my brushes or materials, and basically everything that I need. And that's programmed to the letter J, and my tablet is programmed to that. So once again, that would be such a wasted key if I needed that for anything else. I mean, another program, but since it's only specific for ZBrush, it's pretty cool. Other things that you could do is, now you could even do this. It could be for no program. So you could say, well, for all others, so I could say that the tablet pen grip for all other programs, okay, any program, I could have this be, let's see here. You know, I could have it toggle my displays. So I could make a different one active. I could go here and I could change, you know, I could go through all of these and just change different things. So it's really kind of crazy how many options you have. Here I could even do a radial menu. So on a radial menu, I can, now let's see here. Let's see what happens if I click on the radial menu. You can see here, I have a radial menu that pops up, and now I can get even more things. So I could go into my settings here. Whoop. And I can now go through and adjust the, on the radial menu here, I'm on screen controls, radial menu. I can assign different things here. So you can see this is the brush panel. I could have that do whatever I want. I could have it open and run a program if I wanted to. I could have it bring up the Wacom properties. I could have it bring up the file explorer. Okay, maybe I'll do that. I'll just click on that. So now, watch this. If I'm just sitting here without any program, I can click on this and then boom, click on that, and it brings up my file explorer. Okay, so if I wanted something else, I can just boom, click on this, and I can say here that's set to save, tab. A lot of this wouldn't be really make sense like for that. So what I might do is have this one, I could go here and I could say, maybe I want applications open run, and then I could say I'm gonna browse and I want it to open up, let me see if I can find, let me see if I found a program here. Okay, I want that to open up Maya, let's say. Let's see. Or maybe, and so I'd have to just find where it's installed on my thing. There, Photoshop. Okay, good. So now I can click on that and I could find exactly where Photoshop is. There it is. I click open. Okay, and click OK. Now you can see that if I was here, I could just click and boom, I click on that and it launches Photoshop. So now I have my tablet kind of maximized for if I'm using a program like Maya or ZBrush, Photoshop, or even if I'm not using any program, I could have it launch different programs or something. I mean, I feel like, talk about it being extremely lazy, right? Instead of going down here and clicking, I can just instantly at a fingertip click. And what I'm doing when I click on that is I have it set to pen grip and I have that doing the radial menu. And by the way, you could set up the radial menu in ZBrush or Maya or anything, and then realize that each one of those kind of tiles here could be set up to be a keystroke. So in other words, maybe you want to use W, E, and R, which are the shortcuts for like move, scale, and rotate in Maya. Well, you could have these be anything. So that's what's, once again, kind of cool about all of this kind of functionality. So hopefully you felt like that was kind of, you learned something new here and kind of really trying to be able to maximize your tablet and your settings. And once again, your menus might not look exactly like mine as far as these properties, but basically the concept is all there. Okay, it's all going to be very similar. You can even go to the eraser and you could program that to be anything. And once again, just really cool stuff with this. So feel free to explore it. If you have questions, just put it in the comments below. Please like and subscribe and have a great day. Thank you.